everybody? It's Drew Muzan. Welcome back to another review episode. I'm going to be posting some new videos in the next couple of weeks, with the upcoming release of my new book, The Framework. I'm going to be posting some videos to commemorate that release, as well as just some other stuff that I've been feeling on my heart. So let's get right into it. So as you can tell by the title of the video is what is the Christian music industry doing wrong? I have a lot of opinions on the Christian music industry. I love Christian music. I love God. I love Jesus. But I have a lot of opinions on the Christian music scene, preferably in the realm of hip hop, that I was just gonna go through in this video and just talk about what I believe in my own opinion about what the Christian music industry is doing wrong. Number one, the first thing that the Christian music industry is doing wrong is excluding hip hop altogether. That's the number one thing that Christian music industry, the Christian music genre is doing wrong. And I'll say this to start this off. The Christian gospel music singing industry is primarily radio based, while the hip hop industry, Christian hip hop industry, is primarily internet based. The radio stations don't play Christian rap. I never hear a KB song. I never hear a Lecrae song. The only time I've ever heard any type of rap like on a Christian radio station is Kirk Franklin's The Well station on Sirius XM. I used to, when I get off work at night sometimes, whenever DJ Dex, I believe his name, DJ Dex ATL on Instagram, DJ Dex, is the DJ for Kirk Franklin's The Well at like 10 o'clock at night, right? And from 10 to 11 or from 9 to 11 or whatever, he plays this mix of hip-hop music or whatever, music that I hear now, but it's not during the day when, 5 o'clock traffic, it's not, 2 o'clock traffic, or not 2 o'clock traffic, but 2 o'clock midday songs. You never hear hip-hop rap, on the radio. And that's like one of my biggest pet peeves, because I honestly believe that the Christian music industry, the Christian music genre is in error when they don't allow all types of worship. Now you may say, well, Drew, they're not worshiping. Those artists are just rapping, but worship is a lifestyle. So if they express their love for Jesus out of rapping or reggae or rock, Christian rock, or Afro beats or whatever like that, if that's how they express their love for Jesus, then let them go do it. Don't exclude them from the a part of the industry, the Christian music industry. And I use this example, and I'm going to use this example. The example is kind of off, but it kind of relates back to it once you get where I'm going. Look at Colorado, for instance. Colorado allows it's legal for people to buy, marijuana is legal in Colorado, and the government has generated tax dollars off of that legalizing marijuana to benefit the government and benefit from the taxes that the people pay on the buying the marijuana, and it's allowed the government, the state, to make more money. And relative to the Christian music industry, if the Christian music industry would allow rap, would allow reggae, would allow all these people to share the same stages as the Tasha Cobbses or as the Travis Greens or the Todd Dulaney, allow the reggae, the rappers, the Afrobeat guys that are Christian, that love God too, share the same stage, they would make up a bigger pie, because the Christian music genre primarily dedicates themselves to the singer. The singers are probably more well off than the rappers. The Todd Dulaney's and I'm not saying that they make a whole bunch of millions of dollars or whatever, but that gospel industry is well funded, well executed, and those guys and girls are signed to big major labels, but the rappers are not. But the rappers are more consistent than the musicians and the singers. But I'm getting to that later. But the number one thing that I think that the Christian music industry does wrong is excluding rappers. If they would not exclude the rappers and they would include the rappers, then they would be able to take up a lot more real estate and win a lot more souls for God. Because you look at it this way, I had posted something on Instagram the other day talking about how it's amazing to me, like with Christian media, how a rapper can dress up with the bandana around their neck, with the nose ring, with the dreads, and the high fashion to get on stage performing in front of a bunch of toilet. they get on stage to perform in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds who don't know anything. Like I see a lot of times, I see a lot of these rappers post shows at their concert, and I look at the demographics, a bunch of young white kids that don't know nothing about what they talking about, you know, love God, love Jesus, and like to jump around, and that's what the rappers are doing on stage. And most of their shows are just with 12-year-olds at these festivals and young people that don't know nothing about what they talking about. And that's primarily what the rap genre get. But if you go to the Christian music concerts, the Christian music gets the Gospel Fest and all these other concerts at Carowinds and all this other stuff, and they get people from all colors and creeds of all ages at their shows, but the rappers only get the 12 to 15-year-olds. And then if you're fortunate enough to have some type of a following, you may get a little 100 person, 150 person seating, or 150 person seating at a bar, for your concert, and it's maybe a bunch of 20 somethings, and that's good. But you have to reach a certain caliber. It's crazy to me how a Lauren Daigle or a Tori Kelly can start booking arena tours, and they have not been around as long as Lecrae has. Lecrae's been around for 10 years now. He's just now getting up to the crowds to where they're at. But the Lauren Daigles and the Tori Kellys, because they're powered by these bigger labels and they have more exposure, they're able to go to a whole nother level when it comes to touring and shows and stuff like that. And then another thing, like a lot of the radio stations are biased towards rappers. A lot of media stations, a lot of television stations are biased towards rap or biased towards other types of genres within the Christian realm. And primarily, like I said, it's because most of the singers are signed to big labels, and these big labels have faith departments, faith and gospel departments. And I think that the rapper should get a shot. I think a KB or a Paris Chariz or Aaron Cole, guys like these should be able to get shots with these major labels, on these major labels, and share the same stages as a Tori Kelly or a Lauren Daigle. Okay, so the second thing that makes that the Christian music industry is doing wrong is that they're not consistent with their bodies of work. How this kind of spawned was today. I was just reading, and somebody had texted me asking me what are my favorite gospel albums or Christian albums from 2000, 2009, and I drew a complete blank. The only albums that I sent to the person were before 2000, were two Fred Hammond albums that came out in 90 and 98 or whatever that I was most privy to growing up, and that's all I knew. And I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, man, I grew up in a Christian household my whole life, but I can't think of top albums that I've heard. I've only heard singles, and like I said before, I don't think I said this before, but the Christian music genre industry, gospel singing industry, is primarily singles based. So because these people are radio based, they're singles based, and when they're singles based, they don't know how to make a full body of work. Very few know how to make a full body of work. They know how to make singles, and then when they make the single get enough buzz, then they go record the live album, and then they put the album out, then they go on tour, then they sit quiet for 2 years. That's usually what I'm seeing. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of people, a lot of the Christian music artists are making singles, and the radio and the media industry rides those singles till the wheels fall off. I'm talking about that in a little bit. They ride those singles till the wheels fall off, and then then 2 years later they come out with another album, they release another single, and they come out with another live album recording, and then they drop it, and then it's just the same cycle. And I think one of the things that the Christian music industry does wrong is that these artists don't know how to make full bodies of work. Most of them are primarily worshipers, and they know how to make music, and they're anointed to make music and stuff like that, but they don't know how to make full bodies of work because the industry that they're in is primarily singles based. The singers primarily make most of their money off of their biggest singles. Their albums aren't worth a hill of beans because the albums industry is just, albums are worth more in hip hop than they are in Christendom, because Christendom is more singles based, and in the secular realm, in the hip hop realm, they're more albums based. When I think of best albums, I think of at least 90% of the songs gotta be fire, or the whole thing I have to be able to play from top to bottom. But when I think about Christian music with that, I can't play a lot of these projects from top to bottom because a lot of songs sound the same. And I think that's one of the problems with the music industry. A lot of the songs sound the same. A lot of people are remaking. That's another thing too. Why is it that a lot of Christian music, like singers, sing the same song and then go sell it? Why, or go put it on streaming? Like, why can't I find 10 different versions of the same song? Ain't that plagiarism? You know, ain't that plagiarism? Why do you have the ability in Christendom to release a song? Why does 10 different people have the ability to release Great Thou Art? Or, Great Thou Art, that song Great Thou Art. Why do I, if I type it in on Apple Music, why are there 10 different variations of How Great Is Our God? You know, why, and that people are getting paid for those singles. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it like that? You know, when it comes to hip hop, if 10 people make the same song, somebody's gonna get called out and say you biting, and 2, give me my money. But like with Christendom, everybody's sharing. I ain't got no problem with it, but I'm just saying, like, that's kind of weird to me. But it's primarily, the Christian music industry is primarily singles based, and these artists don't know how to make full bodies of work, and it affects their artistry. They're just worshipers. They don't know, a lot of them don't know how to make full bodies of work that don't sound the same. Every song don't sound the same, or every album doesn't sound the same, you know, and they're recorded in live audiences instead of in studios where you can feel off the vibe and you can chill for a couple months and figure out the theme of the album. You know, most of the themes of the album is just worship, and you're not really trying to take it to another level. So, and then lastly, the last thing that I feel like, and there's probably more than these 3 or 4 things, but the last thing I think is wrong with the Christian music industry, the Christian genre, is that singers die out too quick. I give you a primary example. I love both of these singers. I definitely think they're both talented. They're both young and talented. But give the example of Brianna Babineau. If you've been in tune with Christian music for the last 2 years, or two years ago, you heard Brianna Babineau. Brianna Babineau got famous off a viral video. She got signed, dropped the album, blew up, was touring, did the single, and then I remember she got married, and then I haven't heard no music from her since. You know, but then you have, and now Corinne Hawthorne, the Won't He Do It, the singer who sings Won't He Do It, she took her place. And there's not no beef with nobody or say that one singer is better than the other, but I'm just giving a primary example of how singers die out too quick. Or maybe it's not, maybe it's not dying out, maybe people need a break, but you know, people need a break, or they just don't want to do it anymore. But it's a prime example of one girl comes in, she's on fire, and they ride that single till the wheels fall off, and then she dies out, does whatever she does, she dies out, and another one gets up, and they're currently riding her single till the wheels fall off. The Won't He Do It single, I keep seeing articles and stuff about how long it's been on the Billboard charts, and they're riding the single. It's been on the Billboard charts for like 26 weeks, #1, like 26 weeks, something like that. It's a long, like half the year, it's been #1, which is dope. Shout out to Corinne Hawthorne. But where's the next one? You know, when it comes to hip hop, what I'm accustomed to is once you drop one, after you ride that for about 6 months, you need to come with another, or you're going to get lost in the sauce. You're going to get drowned out. You're going to get lost in the sauce. If you don't come out with another song within the next 6 months, you're going to get lost in the sauce. Easily, you know, but when it comes to Christian music, singers die out too quick because they're not consistent. They ride the waves of those songs for a couple of years, and then they go back to the drawing board a couple years later. They're not consistently like, oh, I dropped one, oh, that one hit, okay, I'm gonna drop another one. Where it is in hip hop, they drop one, they're like, okay, we need to come out with another one, because we have the consciousness that if we don't drop another one and stay on top of this and ride this wave, you know, with another single or another album that's dope from start to finish, then I'm gonna get lost in the sauce. So those are some of the things I think that the Christian music industry is doing wrong. You let me know what your opinion is of the Christian music industry. And by no way am I slamming artists or slamming the thing. You know, people, at the end of the day, people do what God tells them to do. But, you know, from a music business standpoint, from a hip hop lover, music lover standpoint, and trying to use the knowledge and the information that I've gained from hip hop and trying to apply it to the Christian media realm, I feel like it lacks a lot of creativity. I feel like a lot of people are stifled and not being able to do stuff because of certain pastors or certain leaders not approving certain things, and you know, whether it be attire in churches or hairstyles or types of songs or whatever, like they're not approving of a lot of things, so it stifles creativity. So a lot of the artists sound alike and they bite off each other's, you know, singles and stuff like that. So I simply want to revamp Christian media, and you know, this is the start of it. This is how you do it. You get your opinion out and you talk about it. So I pray you guys are blessed by it. Let me know what your opinions are of it. Until next time, peace.